Hey guys, Jess from Curse here. I'm here at the Bethesda booth in front of this creepy guy from The Evil Within, and I've got Pete from Bethesda here who's going to answer a few of my questions about The Evil Within. So first of all, hi, how are you? Are you having a good show so far?
So far, so good. Everybody's enjoying the game, so.
Good, yeah. I was completely blown away. Like I said, I got to see this at the Santa Monica preview event you guys did, and I saw it again, and luckily I got to be in the show where Jason died.
Which we are going to give him copious amounts of grief about, but at least you know we're not faking it. It's a real demo, it's a real game, and it kind of proves the dynamicness of it, that he never really knows exactly what to expect.
Now, my first question is, does this creepy guy have a name?
He's Boxman.
Boxman, okay.
Maybe we're not so clever with our names between Chainsaw Guy and Boxman, but yeah, one of the creepy characters that you're going to be coming across in The Evil Within.
One of the things I really liked about the demo that I saw was how you used visual cues such as light glinting off of a key or a knife, and I've seen that in a few other games. Was there a particular series that you drew inspiration for that from?
Obviously Shinji's been doing survival horror since he did Resident Evil 1 way back in the day, so he had an idea of what he wanted to do with the game, how he wanted to present it. Very, very clean HUD, so there's very little info on the screen to distract you. The aspect ratio of the screen is a little scrunched. It's a CinemaScope, so it's 2.35 by 1 as opposed to 16 by 9, so it's shorter and wider when you're playing the game, which has an effect that maybe you don't recognize at first, but as you play through the game you kind of appreciate. And then using little visual cues like glinting off a key and so forth, so that again you don't have to put lots of pop-ups on the screen or information on the screen. He wants it to be very clean. The more immersed you are, the more tense you are, and the more scared you are when he's trying to scare you.
Yeah, and that really came through. It was a really tense, really scary game, like it's supposed to be. The one thing I kind of noticed, and people pointed this out at the E3 preview event a couple months ago as well, is that the health meter, when that pops up, it kind of breaks immersion. Are you guys going to do anything about that? Do you have any plans for that?
Absolutely. Obviously, we're still really early in development. Game's not coming out till next year, so there's stuff in there that is temp. The health bar is just kind of let's just stick something in there so that we can kind of represent it, but that's by no means final, and still figuring out a way what it's going to look like, how it's going to be represented, so that you're aware of it, but it's not intruding.
Now, one of the things I especially liked about The Evil Within was that it really did, like Mr. Mikami said, it really did take this game back to the roots of survival horror, and a lot more so than Resident Evil 4, for instance. This is kind of, Mikami's response to, well, the Resident Evil series kind of drifted away from survival horror a little bit, so let's bring it back and start a new series to kind of refresh that.
Well, and I think it's not just a response to any one particular series, but kind of where the genre has gone in general, where it's really action-heavy and really action-focused. And he felt like there was still something to be done where you can do survival horror and you can have action and combat, but it doesn't have to only be that. And there's a way to make a more immersive game that mixes in elements of storytelling, that makes resources and the scarcity of them, play a larger role, where you don't always feel like, oh, I have lots of bullets, multiple guns, and I'll just mow down anything I see, where you're in situations a lot more often. You have 2 bullets and 5 enemies, and how are you going to deal with that? Or you do a headshot on a creature, and last time it took one out and killed it, but this time the creature just shook it off and kept coming at you, and you're like, oh crap, I wasn't expecting that. Like, now what do I do? Or you saw in the demo where you can light a guy on fire. So you have matches, and that's sort of one of the mechanics for, well, I'm going to save bullets. I down an enemy by shooting him in the leg, and I can run up to him and set him on fire. Except every time an enemy's on the ground, it doesn't mean he's going to stay there. He might be faking it to lure you in so he can jump at you, which I don't know if that happened in the demo that you saw, but it does happen. But again, we never know when it's going to happen. So you run up thinking you're just going to burn a guy and get rid of him, and he leaps at you, and suddenly you're in a melee struggle that you weren't expecting. So keeping you off balance and mixing all of those things, taking it back to, like you said, a more pure survival horror, and not just so action all the time.
Yeah, there are more almost little puzzles, little tricks you have to figure out, such as, oh, why don't I hide in this little cabinet so that, Boxman or Chainsaw Man doesn't come after me.
Yeah, and we want you to, we like this idea that you feel vulnerable, that you're scared. We hope you're scared, but that you have this ability to think your way through a problem or a situation, and when you come out the other side of it, you've got a sense of pride, like, wow, that was really close, but that was really cool when I hid in the thing and I got past the guy, or I threw the bottle to distract him and then went around the other way. That you have resources at your disposal, even if that's just you thinking your way through the problem, because you don't have lots of other things that you can use.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Once again, I'm Jess from Curse. This has been your E3 2013 coverage brought to you by Alienware. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the game.